Just turn it all off. Start again. Troubleshooting 101. If in fail, off. Turn it off. If in doubt, forget about it. Throw it out. No. That's cool. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Oh, all that time I spent on those amazing slides. No. It's fine. I probably didn't need to spend that much time on them, but I'm a bit of a... Yeah. I like being creative. Sometimes I stay a little bit too much in the creative zone when I could be sleeping or something else. Washing dishes, mopping floors. Yeah. Who wants to do that? Hey, it's Mother's Day, right? It's cool. Anyway, this morning, happy Mother's Day for those of you who are mums. For those of you who are spiritual mums in the house, I want to acknowledge you this morning because there is so much that you pour into the body of Christ that we don't often acknowledge. And so I want to acknowledge you this morning. You give birth to things that we don't even see sometimes. And spiritually, it's like we might see the result of it later, but we don't see the sowing in that you do in the background that, like mums do with their children. We don't always see what you do for others. And so I want to acknowledge you and thank you for being a spiritual mum in this house, for sowing seeds, for nurturing seeds, for the mentoring that you do, for the love that you show children who aren't yours. Because that's hard. I know, I'm a youth pastor. It's hard to love children that aren't yours. But there's something special about people who do, and so I just want to acknowledge you this morning. God bless you. You are amazing. So, being Mother's Day, this is the second year in a row I've done Mother's Day. For years I'd never done Mother's Day, and now I'm preaching Mother's Days. Is that going to be we might have to move. No, just kidding. I won't go anywhere where God doesn't want me to go. That's okay. But I've been thinking about Mother's Day, and I've been thinking about mums, and I've been a mum now for almost 25 years. I've been a mum longer than I have not been a mum. That is weird. No, I haven't. How old am I? I'm almost. Nah. No, I'm not over 50. What am I talking about? Man, my maths is really bad. Okay, scrap that. If in doubt, throw it out. Yeah, okay. I'm actually only 44. I'm almost there. Not quite. 44 plus 20 minus 25, that don't add up. Sorry. It's okay. My kids are used to this. My husband is too. It's all right. Maths used to be my strong suit. It is not now. Anyway, carrying on. I was thinking about how amazing mothers are and that God has created us women to carry life. And I think it's so crazy, the ability that we have to carry life inside of us. To me, that's crazy. When I think about how, biology, just trillions of little cells inside you of your own, and then you have more which aren't yours, but they're kind of yours. And God creates that and gives it life, and we carry that. And that just blows my mind. I'm like, how can you not believe that there's a God? When you think about it, that stuff doesn't happen by accident. Life doesn't, I don't believe so. There's no way in my brain that I can go, oh, yep, that just happened. Although when I was a teenager, I was telling our young people about how I used to mess with someone who was a Christian in my school. I wasn't born again. God has saved me since then, and I have asked for forgiveness. But I used to mess with this girl. Anyway, side story. But I was thinking about how we carry something inside of us. And the Lord reminded me that we are all vessels. On the screen should be a slide that says, vessels, with vessels in the background. That's why I'm sharing about vessels right now. But we're having some technical difficulties, but that's okay. So he reminded me that we're all vessels, and I was thinking of what is a vessel? A vessel is a container, or what I have learnt from my South African friends, a bucky. A bucky. Yeah, shout out to you guys. And a bucky is for putting something into. It doesn't matter what it is. I have come to know what we call a ute here in New Zealand is a bucky, because you put stuff in it. A container is a bucky. A drinking vessel is a bucky. A bowl is a bucky. Anything you can put something into is a bucky. Whoop, whoop. Go team. I love you guys. So a vessel is something that contains something. It holds something. And I'll see if this will work for me. Burp. The purpose of a vessel is to be filled. So you and I, we kind of come a little bit empty, but not really. There's stuff in us. But our purpose is to be filled. We're not supposed to be empty. And I think of this verse, Colossians 3:16. Let the message about Christ and all its richness fill your lives. And I think about this, the message about Christ and all its fullness. A richness is not just that Jesus was born. It's not just that Jesus was a preacher. It's not just that Jesus was a prophet. It's not just that Jesus was king. It's all its richness. The message about Christ and all its richness fill your lives. Teach and counsel each other with all the wisdom he gives. Sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to God with thankful hearts. We're supposed to be filled. We're created for a purpose to be used by the Master, filled for God to be used by God. We're not supposed to just be filled with anything. And I feel like I'm kind of almost reiterating what was preached last week, but in a different way. And that's okay. But what you carry will be fed. I don't know why that was the picture I chose, but a cat being fed by a bottle seemed appropriate. But what you carry, you feed it. And I was thinking about how mothers carry a baby in their womb. You know, when you carry a baby in your womb, regardless of what you put into your body, you are feeding that baby. You are feeding that unborn child. You're nurturing it. You are giving it the sustenance, or maybe not, depending on how good you're eating, to help that baby grow. And just as us women, were created to carry, nurture, and birth children, you and I, we're also vessels, created to be filled, to carry life, and to nurture that life until it's time to birth it. If we think about how a mother carries a child in the womb for 9 months, and we think about, I was thinking, you know, what if I'm carrying anger in the same way? Maybe not hopefully not for 9 months. But if I'm carrying anger inside of me and I don't address that anger, then I'm likely feeding that anger. It probably sounds like offence has occurred, alarms. Anger level, 7 out of 10. Internal dialogue, man, he had one job to do, just one job. One job. And on the external, it might look like the silent treatment for that day. That's day 0. The next day, anger levels have now risen because that anger is still there. It has not been addressed. It might have started out as just a little bit of frustration and resentment, and now it's building. And then the dialogue continues. He's always doing this, never does what I ask him to do, or never listens, never this, never that. And it starts to escalate. That little bit of anger that started off, that was unaddressed on day dot, gets worse. And it festers. I'm now feeding the anger. I'm now feeding the wolf, I guess. And then that starts to look like huffing and puffing around the house. Here's your dinner. Slam the door. It's real, right? This is what happens when we don't address anger. And we carry it, and we continue to feed it, and we continue to give it life, and it grows. Eventually, at the end of that week, if that anger is not addressed, there's more than just anger. There's resentment, there's frustration. It turns into disconnection, distrust, hurt that you don't want to heal. And that has built up throughout this whole week. And then what accumulates at the end is this massive blow up. An argument where things are said that should never be said. Maybe even fist fly or hand slap or whatever. And that causes a more permanent fracture in the relationship. And while that's still recoverable, it's only recoverable if the anger is addressed. And so what's birthed is a fractured relationship, a disconnect, a brokenness. But our God's a God of reconciliation. And so he wants us to address the anger right at day 1, or day dot, the 0 point. We carry life like this. And anger is an extreme example, but it's a very easy one to see. You know, when we don't address anger being a negative thing, it becomes something so much bigger than it needed to be. Because all it was a few conversations, an expression of, actually I was really upset that you didn't do this, and I was really hoping that it would have happened. And I'm sorry. How can we fix this? How can we move forward? I love you. Or whatever. But we carry that life. We nurture it. We feed it. We feed into it, even if we don't realize we're feeding into it. And it's our thoughts. It's our feelings. It's the little thing that we decide not to address when we should. Like, I caught myself saying something the other day. I'm like, nope, stop it. That's naughty. And it was just something that someone had done which bugged me, but I had to nip it in the bud. It's probably the best way to put it. You have to nip it in the bud straight away. Actually, that's not okay. If I continue my thoughts down that pathway and feed those thoughts, I'm going to be resenting that person over this tiny little minuscule thing that actually doesn't really matter. And we have to see what we're feeding. We have to take a moment to check ourselves. What am I feeding? Oh, here we go. And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are still angry. Why? For anger gives a foothold to the devil. So because I don't address that anger, then I allow the devil to have a foothold. And then the hole gets bigger. The disconnection between you and whoever it is, whether it's your husband, whether it's your boss, whether it's your wife, whether it's the neighbour, whether it's someone you work with, whether it's, it doesn't matter who it is, your child's teacher even. We carry life and we feed it. What we carry will be poured out. Like at the end of that example of anger, verbal spew. It's poured out because you've been carrying it. Whatever is in you, if it's been fed enough, it will be birthed at some stage. And it will be poured out, whether you like it or not. If you continue to feed the thing that's negative, it will come out. And normally the people around you, the ones you love, are the ones that are hurt. They're the ones that get affected the most. It's the same if it's something positive too, and something good. When God puts something in your heart, and I love these testimonies that have been shared today, because it's a result of that feeding period, I believe. Like when I think of it, God's faithfulness, but actually I was listening to God, I was being obedient, I'm feeding the thing that God's put in my heart, the seed that He's put in me, the thing that I'm carrying in me. I'm feeding that, I'm giving that life, and that's going to be birthed. And then we see in those testimonies, something was birthed, something good came out of that, something that's praiseworthy, something that we can glorify God with. But we feed it, we carry it, and then it's poured out. It doesn't matter what it is, good or bad, it's going to be poured out. If you're carrying hate or hurt, it will be poured out. It's often poured out in our language. It's often poured out in our actions. How we react to someone or something. We pour it out. I don't know why this is all in bold. It's interesting. If we carry an attitude of gratitude and thanksgiving, that's what's going to be poured out. I was sharing with our youth group, our theme for this term is fruitfulness. And one of the things I was talking about on Friday night was gratitude and being grateful. When you're grateful, it removes arrogance from you. Because you can't be arrogant when you're grateful for someone else or something else. It keeps you humble. It keeps you close to God. When you're grateful for the things that God has done, you can't be ungrateful about the things He hasn't done because you're so focused on the things that He has done that are good. And our attitude is it pours out of us, our gratitude, our heart, our thanksgiving. If we're filled with that, then we'll pour that out. What you carry will be poured out. Okay. Sorry, that didn't change. There we go. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. What's inside is going to flow out. Guard it, because if the bitterness comes in, it's going to come out. If the hurt comes in, it's going to come out. If the hate comes in, it's going to come out. If the anger comes in, it's going to come out. I grew up a very angry teenager. And it wasn't anybody else's fault. It was just I didn't know how to deal with life. I didn't know how to deal with feelings. I didn't know how to deal with people. And so what I fed that with all sorts of stuff. Music was one of the main things I fed it with. And if you think about some of the stuff I was listening to, it was probably pretty hardcore metal. And there wasn't very nice themes in that. And so it's no wonder you were angry. There's some pretty mean themes coming through, some really angry anthems. And I'm like, wow, when I became a Christian, I realized that I was feeding what I was pouring out. I was feeding that with music. I was feeding that with the people I was hanging out with the things I was listening to. I was feeding that with the environments that I was in. I didn't know how to guard my heart. And actually, sometimes I'm still learning, right? We're still learning sometimes to guard our hearts with some things, because not everything's obvious where we need to be guarding. But I also think about this next verse. A good person produces good things from the treasury of a good heart, and an evil person produces evil things from the treasury of an evil heart. What you say flows from what is in your heart. So that's going to be poured out, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Whatever you're carrying eventually will be poured out. The great news is, if you are empty, you can be filled. And like a normal glass or a normal vessel, it can be filled. In this case, we don't want to fill it with bad stuff. We want to fill it with God's stuff. That's so, simple. Anyone who believes in me may come and drink, for the scriptures declare rivers of living water will flow from his heart. We can go to him. We can go to him in whatever we do. We can go to him to be filled. We can go to him to be refreshed. We can go to him and receive the rivers of living water. If we're empty, it's simple. We just come. Come to him, all who are weary and heavy laden, and he will give us rest. We can be filled. I don't know. May you experience the love of Christ, though it is too great to understand fully. Then you will be made complete with all the fullness of life and power that comes from God. God's love fills us up. Sometimes we just need to sit in a space where we actually receive it. I felt when I first became a Christian, it was really hard to receive God's love because I felt like I was not loved. I felt like I was unworthy to be loved. I felt like, who could love me? My birth mother gave me to someone else. Who could love me? And then I realized that God had created me. And who better to love me but the Creator? And I had to come to a place where I could receive his love, to realize that I was worthy, to realize that he loved me regardless of what I had done. He didn't always like what I did, but he loved me regardless of that. Unconditional love. And I experienced that through the church, through the Word, through my time with him. I experienced the love that he had for me, and I couldn't understand it. It wasn't something I got at all. I was like, okay, yep, you love me, but why? Like, this is pretty messed up. Like, I'm pretty messed up. There's broken things here, but you love me? I couldn't understand that. Sometimes I still can't. And he makes us complete with all the fullness of life through him. We were talking about fruitfulness at youth group as well. So we're talking about being connected to the vine. How can I be filled? Well, you stay connected. Don't let go. Stay connected. It's like, what happens when you're not connected anymore? And one of our young people said, well, there's no life in you. Yeah. They came up with some really other deep questions, which I was like, whoa, okay, I feel like I'm not qualified now. But they're great. I love that our young people are asking these kind of deep questions. I love that they're trying to figure out who God is for them. I love that they're trying to seek him. I love that they're trying to figure out, how do I stay connected to the vine? How do I stay connected to Jesus, even though I do stupid things sometimes? Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine. And you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. You want to be filled, we have to remain in him. That means that when I'm angry, I don't go out drinking with my friends from high school or whatever because I can't deal with whatever it is. Because that's not remaining in him. That's going, I'm just going to figure out my own way to work on this issue. I'm just going to do it my way for a wee bit and see if it works out. We know it doesn't. Always ends up messy. You end up cleaning up after yourself. And there's this disconnect when we try to do stuff our way. But if we remain in him, he brings us to a place where we work through our stuff. We work through our anger. We process the hurt, we process the pain, we work through it. And I'm not saying like, oh, you need to go see 20 therapists and 2 counsellors and, that's not the answer. The answer is Jesus. The answer is sitting at his feet. I've been to counsellors, and I'm not saying that counsellors are not great, because some of us do need them because there's some deep stuff that we don't know how to reach, even with Jesus, and they just give us a bit of a map to help us find our way there. But there's stuff where actually just sitting with Jesus is the best way to be ministered to. Because he doesn't condemn us. He doesn't cause us shame. He doesn't make us feel guilty. He might convict us of some of the stuff that we've put in our lives, but he actually brings us to a place where we go, oh, wow, God, I hadn't seen that before. I didn't realize that I was doing these things. It's like a mirror. It's like he puts a mirror in front of you and helps you see yourself for where you're really at. But he fills us up. If we stay connected to him, he fills us up. It's not anything we can do of ourselves, and I know it's not up there, but in John 15, when I was talking about the vine, remain in me and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. And then in verse 5 it goes on to say, yes, I am the vine and you the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. For apart from me, you can do nothing. So going to the pub, getting drunk, not going to work. Going and punching someone over because you're so angry, not going to work. Not that I don't think anyone in this room does that kind of thing, but real life examples, but maybe not our real life. Hopefully not our real life. But there's other stuff also that we might do. I mean, I know that I'm a disconnect from reality and get really busy into work when I don't want to process something. So I will be busy, purposely be busy. And I will try not to think about the thing that hurts. And so that's just the same as not remaining in the vine. God reminds me of this constantly, like, why are you working so much? Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe there's this thing that I need to address that I'm not, and I'm trying not to. That's why I'm working so hard at this thing that I really don't need to work on. And then he draws me back to the vine. So I want to remain in him. I don't know why I keep pointing there. The thing's up there. What you carry can be stirred up. Woohoo! Some good news. So we can be filled up once we stay in the vine, once we fill up with worship, with prayer, with the word, with God's people. God's people fill us up sometimes. Sometimes we feel depleted after people if you're an introvert. But that's okay. We love you too. What you carry can be stirred up. You know, I think of this verse. Nope, that's not the verse I think of. No, it is. It's just a different version. I'll read this one. This is why I remind you to fan into flames the spiritual gift God gave you when I laid my hands on you. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. Fan into flame that which you carry, whatever that is. Maybe it's a dream. Maybe it's a God dream that has been sitting there in your spirit, waiting to be birthed. And maybe God has been faithful, but you want to leave your job, but it's not the right time. But stir up the gift. Stir up that which is in you. Stir up the flame, or fan the flame. Oh, that's right. That is a different version, isn't it? Yeah. Stir it up. What is it that's sitting in you? Don't let go of it. What is it that God has put in your spirit? What seed has He planted in you? I was thinking about many things. Before I was a youth pastor, before I was leading youth group, I was just a mum. And I say just a mum, but that's actually not true. I'm not just a mum. I was a mum. I actually loved parenting young kids. Actually, I've just loved parenting, full stop. What can I say? I didn't want kids when I was younger, and I didn't like kids when I was younger. And then I was pregnant. And then I was like, wow, there's this life growing inside of me. This is insane. I can feel it moving. Whoa, this is crazy. All those kind of weird things. And then I realized how much life inside of me was amazing. And I thought, well, this is it for me now. Like, I'm going to be a parent. What happens from here on? See, no one prepares you for that. Like, you kind of go, oh, I'm a parent now. Now what? And you kind of think sometimes that you have to put everything else on hold, like your life has to go on hold. But it was actually, no, this is my life. And it's not on hold. It's life to the fullest. It's crazy. It's naked kids running around in the backyard because it's a summer hot day and there's water, there's paint, there's mess. I mean, that was my house anyway. I was a play centre mum, so I didn't care. I was like, well, kids going to be kids. They might as well have fun doing it. And you know, most people, I had friends who said to me, oh, you've ruined your life by having children. And I was kind of like, excuse me? But their perspective was that I go to school, I get an education, I go to university, I get a job, then I have children and I do all these other things, or I get married and do all these other things. And that was the only way for them. And so when I had kids, they were like, you've ruined your life. And I was like, no, man, I'm just beginning. This is amazing. This is the best adventure I'm ever going to be on, is this part of my life. And I remember thinking to myself, just because I'm a parent doesn't mean that God hasn't put gifts inside of me that He's going to breathe life on later. And so when Pastor Gina and Pastor Graham first came, Pastor Gina came up to me and she asked me, what do you do? And I was like, well, right now I'm a full-time mum. And I was like, yep, I'm so showing my mum badge off. I was super proud of being a mum. I'm like, I'm a full-time mum, but one day I'm going to be the youth pastor. And it was just, it was almost brazen, but there was something inside of me that was so convinced that that was the gift that God had put in me, that was the seed that had planted in my spirit. And being a mum, or my life being ruined, I was not going to stop whatever it was that was in my way, because I knew that that was what God had put in me. And so I didn't let go of that. I didn't go, oh, I'm a mum, I can't do this. Or I've got no, I came out of school, I had 2 jobs. One was data entry, one was working in a cafe. So not really huge skills. But I didn't go, oh, I can't do this because I don't have any practical skills. I'm like, I got plenty of skills. I'm a mum. I know how to cook, wash, and feed kids all at the same time while one is crying and while one is pooping and while, I got skills. So I didn't let those things stop me. I stirred up the gift that was given. I fanned into flame the seed that the Lord had planted. And I think this year, 2008, please someone do maths for me. Clearly I'm not good at it. So I've been running youth group here since 2008. There we go, 18 years. Do you know that's unheard of in youth ministry? 18 years is a really, really long time. I am a dinosaur in youth ministry leader years. Like technically, absolutely. The average time period for a youth leader to be in youth ministry is 9 months. That is the stats. It's truth. It's insane. 9 months. But you know why I'm still here? Because I stirred up that flame. I fanned it. And I probably put lots of petrol on it at times. And I probably put all sorts of other things on there to keep it going. Sometimes when the fire is low, you're going to do anything you can to keep that fire going. And I believe I've done that probably more than Peter would like me to. But we can stir it up. I don't know what it is that God has put in your heart, whatever seed it is, whatever dream He's put in you, whatever thing that you are carrying that has life in it. He wants to breathe on it. He wants you to stir it up. He wants it to be ignited. He wants you to step into it. And maybe it's not for right now, like we heard in our testimonies earlier. Maybe it's a season of being obedient and waiting on Him. Maybe it's a season of resting in Him and feeding that fire and feeding that seed and helping that thing grow. But He wants you to stir it up. We can stir it up. We don't have to wait. Don't let the fire go out. What you carry is to be used by God. So if God can't use it, get rid of it. I remember years ago, I was like, wow, everything I have in my house is for you, Lord. And there'll be times when people are like, oh, I need to borrow this. Oh, cool, I've got one of those. I can lend you that. Not because I was like, I've got one of those. I can lend you that. But because I knew that whatever I had, I could lend to people because it was God's. It was what God had provided me with. And so I wanted to use that for Him, for His purpose, for His kingdom, to build relationship with people, to help people grow, to help people find peace. Whatever resource He's given me, I wanted to be able to give that to somebody else. But also, these are in really weird order. That's not the one I wanted. No, there's some missing. Okay, we'll go back. No. There, sorry. The screen at the back isn't showing me what the slide is, so that's why I'm having trouble. So in a wealthy home, some utensils are made of gold and silver, some of wood and clay. The expensive utensils are used for special occasions, and the cheap ones are for everyday use. Who remembers when they were growing up that the silverware was only for special occasions? I never had silverware, but my grandma did. And so there was only the special occasions where the silverware came out. It was normally Christmas dinner, and that was like the only time we ever saw it. It was also the special china would come out, and all the fancy things that my nana had. And they only came out on special occasions, and it was normally only once a year. But they were expensive, so, I mean, because I was a ratbag as a kid, you probably didn't want me with your china. So fair enough that it only came out at Christmas, because your china would be broken. So the expensive utensils are used for special occasions, and the cheap ones for everyday use. And there we go. If you keep yourself pure, you will be a special utensil for honourable use. Your life will be clean, and you will be ready for the Master to use you for every good work. This vessel is to be used by God, for God. I'm to keep it pure so that He can use me for every good work. It's a bit hard to be used for good work if you're not pure and you're filthy and you need a good clean. What we put inside will be poured out. Each of us as vessels, we need to stay pure so that God can use us for every good work. So that God can use us to share the gospel with our students in our school. So that God can use us to share our testimony of His faithfulness. Not that if you're in a place where maybe there's stuff in your life that you don't know about that you need addressed, but you don't know about it, that He can't use you anyway, because He will use people anyway. And actually sometimes He uses the ungodly to draw them closer and to build up the godly, if that makes sense. But not to glorify that person, but to bring glory to God. And hopefully there's a way for us to bring that person into a relationship with Jesus. But He wants us to be pure in heart. He wants us to be pure vessels. He wants us to be vessels of honour. So that when we pour out, there's no imperfections. It's not tainted. See, the unsaved, they recognise deceit. They recognise things that are not clean. They recognise that because they live that. And so if we're trying to witness to somebody in a way, in an area of our lives that we're not right in, they'll know. And if they don't, their demons will. So we're called to be vessels that carry life, to give birth to things, to pour out that which is good, to bring honour to God, to bring glory to God, to point people to a Jesus that's holy and righteous, because we reflect that. Wow, it sounds like fun in there. Don't know what's going on with these. That way. Oh, there's that verse again. And so we want to take a moment to reflect. As a face is reflected in water, so the heart reflects the real person. Let's reflect on what are you carrying? What are you pouring out? What are you filling yourself with? Do you need stirring up? Do you need to let something go? Do you need to lay it down or remove it? Are you feeding or nurturing something? Is it good? Is it bad? Vessels symbolize our availability for God. We represent his workmanship. We're shaped by the potter's hands for divine purpose. Each vessel is unique, crafted for a specific service in his kingdom, reflecting his glory through our surrendered lives. We're designed to hold and transport precious contents. In our spiritual lives, we carry God's love, grace, and purpose within us. Like clay jars holding treasure, we contain the light of Christ to share with a world in darkness. As vessels carrying life, we have the privilege of bringing God's presence into every moment, into every space, in our workplaces, in our homes, in our communities. We carry encouragement, we carry peace, we carry hope. Each interaction is an opportunity to pour out what God has placed in us. Hopefully, what God has placed in us has been stirred up enough for you to pour out more. Hopefully, you're filling yourself with more of what God has put in there already. May there be opportunities for us to have divine appointments with others where we can pour out that which God has put in us. It's not just about pouring out for this body of people to be uplifted, to be encouraged, to be equipped, to be resourced with the word, with the kingdom, with prayer, with thanksgiving, with fellowship. But it's also about pouring out for God's kingdom so that people can see Jesus and meet Jesus wherever we are. You know, sometimes you should be hearing people say to you, "Well, there's something different about you." What's that about? That's why I stalked him. It's like, there's something different about him. What's that about? I want that. I want that contentment. I want that peace. People should be saying the same thing about you and I. And so I want to encourage us this morning to fill yourselves. Fill yourselves with Jesus. Fill yourselves to be vessels of honor so that you can pour out to give him glory and to bring people closer to Jesus. Cool. Amen. I don't know what we want to do here. Do you want a song? I don't know.